the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, and verse 26. This is the purpose that is proposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For the Lord Yahweh Shema of hosts has proposed, and who shall disannul it? His hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? All praises to Yahweh, by Shema Shah, Wahara Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect that seeking to be the elect of the nation of Israel. They're scattered abroad amongst the heathen, some looking like the heathen. Beginning the 144,000 preachers, teachers, and prophets. Shalom. Yeah, and I became aware of this by the YouTube channel Midas Touch. All right. Iran just struck Israel again, because the Israelis hit the capital of Lebanon, which is Beirut. But you know, Israel trying to play the blame game. But you see, you can't stop prophecy, man. Hey, Trump trying to play the middleman, supposedly. You ain't stopping this war, man. All right, you're not stopping this. All right, you got right here, Fox, breaking. Trump urges Iran to get back to the table after the missile attack on Israel. See, you ain't in a position to call no orders, man. Call no shots. Now, y'all know, I believe Iran already got nuclear weapons, but we just did a report right then to the Spirit of Prayer, Yahweh Shema Shah. Hey, they might be coming out with them soon. You know, there's reports out that they do have them. You know, I believe they already got them. It's too late in the game for them to not have them. Iran is a powerhouse now. Now, you got right here, it says, 1 hour ago, Trump urges Netanyahu not to respond after Iran targets Israel with first strikes since April. But you know, Netanyahu, he gonna respond, which we want that. Come on, we want it. So you see, hey, this is prophecy, man. It's all gonna lead to World War III. Hey, the least of the flock, the Israelis, is gonna draw America out. They already started. They're going to draw them out some more to the point where they're going to be destroyed. America and the Israelis. And that's why things are moving so fast, so they can bring in this AIB system, man. All right? This mark of the beast, which is going to be global. Now, let's go ahead and play this video, man. Because, you know, it's not going to die down. And we love to see stuff like this, man, because we're ready to get the hell up out of here.
4 p.m. on the East Coast. I'm John Scott, and this is a brand new hour of the Fox Report. Breaking news out of the Middle East. Just this past hour, sirens blaring across Israel as Iran launched a major missile attack, its first since the fragile early April ceasefire. Tehran is now warning that U.S. military bases and Israeli assets in the region are, quote, legitimate targets. Let's go straight to our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yingst. He's live in Tel Aviv. Trey.
Yeah, John, good afternoon. At least 4 waves of Iranian ballistic missiles have targeted northern Israel over the past hour. Many people still in bomb shelters in the northern part of this country. I just got off the phone with President Trump to get his reaction to the ongoing missile attack. As I was speaking with the president out the window, I could see some of these incoming missiles headed toward the northern part of this country. The IDF says they were able to shoot down the majority of the incoming fire, but the president telling Fox News it's certainly not going to help negotiations. I asked him if he had a message for the Iranian regime. He said, what I would suggest to Iran, you've shot your missiles, that's enough, get back to the table and make a deal. President Trump indicated in our conversation that negotiations with Iran were progressing toward a possible agreement as early as Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of this coming week. He told me, and he said now this takes place, and so the president will likely be briefed in the hours ahead about what is happening right now, this exchange of fire that again started earlier today with the Israelis striking the Lebanese capital of Beirut in response to Hezbollah attacks against their country. And so there's been this back and forth taking place. And I asked President Trump if there was coordination with the Israelis regarding the strikes in the Dakhya neighborhood of southern Beirut earlier today. He told me there was not coordination with Israel and added that he was not happy about it. And so the president taking in a lot of information right now as it relates to what is happening in the Middle East. But the latest information, John, that we have 4 waves of Iranian ballistic missiles targeting civilian populations of Israel, and new threats at this hour from Iran's IRGC that they will target U.S. bases across the Middle East if the Israelis respond to these strikes on their territory. This is a significant ballistic missile attack against Israel, the largest that we have seen since the ceasefire went into effect in the aftermath of Operation Epic Fury. And again, it's an indication that the Iranians still have some of their ballistic missiles left, despite the military defeats that they suffered during the operation. And again, President Trump indicated that he has sympathy for those in the region who are uninvolved. He talked about the situation in Lebanon. He said he didn't want to see it as a firing range. And ultimately, we have seen a lot of success on the diplomatic front from the Trump administration to try to reach a normalization deal between Israel and Lebanon. But it's this X factor of Hezbollah, Iran's largest proxy in the Middle East, that is throwing a wrench in this ongoing process. Remember, the president has been able to normalize ties with regional countries and Israel through the Abraham Accords. He has called on other regional countries to join this agreement, and he is trying to de-escalate the tension between Israel and Lebanon amid this ongoing regional conflict. There is a broader effort here by President Trump to reach a negotiated settlement with the Iranian regime that would A, open the Strait of Hormuz, B, ensure that Iran never has a path to a nuclear weapon, and C, export or destroy all of their enriched material that currently exists inside of Iranian territory. But of course, when something like this happens, this exchange of fire that is currently taking place, it complicates the efforts by President Trump to reach such an agreement. And I'm just looking right now at the latest updates that we have, John. Our team in Tel Aviv reporting that that neighbors Iran has temporarily closed its airspace and has suspended air navigation due to safety concerns of air traffic in the region. The western part of Iran's airspace is currently closed until further notice. That is according to Iranian state media. There are a lot of threats going around right now from the IRGC and from Iranian state media to target U.S. bases across the region. But again, the latest information that we have, John, 4 waves of Iranian ballistic missiles have targeted civilian areas of Israel. The Iranians say this is in response to the IDF strikes that targeted the Hezbollah stronghold of southern Beirut earlier today. President Trump reacting exclusively to Fox News to this ongoing Iranian attack, saying it is certainly not going to help negotiations. And again, President Trump telling Fox News that his message to Iran is, you have shot your missiles, that's enough, get back to the table and make a deal. We will see in the hours ahead how the Israelis respond, but we know not only do the Israelis remain on high alert, but also the U.S. military that dealt with Iranian threats over the weekend. On Friday evening, they shot down 4 Iranian attack drones that were headed to the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM also says they dealt with 7 incoming Iranian ballistic missiles that were targeting U.S. forces in Kuwait. This speaks to the readiness of the U.S. military for a variety of scenarios that could take place in the hours ahead. John?
Trey, real quick question. Behind you, we see a highway that is clogged with cars as, you know, it's pushing midnight in Israel. Are those folks trying to get away from a potential missile threat, or is it just, you know, pothole repair or something like that?
It's a great question. I need to speak with sources in Israel to get a better understanding of that specific traffic, but it would not be surprising if this is coming from the northern city of Haifa. If you go that direction from where these cars behind me, John, are coming from, and you drive about 45 minutes on an evening like this around 11 p.m., it would take you just about 45 minutes to get to the northern city of Haifa. This is a city we have reported in frequently. There are hundreds of thousands of civilians in that city that were in bomb shelters tonight amid incoming Iranian ballistic missiles. These are not military positions that the Iranians were targeting. The entirety of northern Israel was under a missile alert earlier amid those 4 waves of Iranian ballistic missiles. And again, this speaks to just how dangerous these missiles can be. We know that one of the Iranian attack drones last week killed someone in Kuwait. And when these attacks take place, there is just a very short amount of time that the Israelis have to respond and work to shoot down the incoming fire. And just very briefly, I want to talk about the Israeli air defense systems. Something that President Trump did that was very important before Operation Epic Fury began is that with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and their counterparts here in Israel, they planned not just on an offensive level, but also on a defensive level for the possibility of incoming Iranian fire. And so the Israelis have a tiered missile defense system with the Iron Dome at the lowest level, and then they have David Sling in the middle, and then the Arrow 2 and 3 system. But more broadly, they have U.S. THAAD and Patriot systems that have worked previously to shoot down incoming Iranian missile fire. And again, this speaks to the coordination that the Israelis and the Americans have on a military level. There may be disagreements politically about when and where to strike. And again, President Trump telling Fox News on the phone he was not happy about the Israeli strikes against Beirut earlier today. But the bottom line here is that the coordination on a military level continues. There are U.S. refuelers and cargo planes at Israel's Ben Gurion Airport about 20 minutes to my east right now, and they are prepared, if orders are given by President Trump, to strike Iranian territory. And again, there is a posture across the Middle East. President Trump has extended an olive branch to the Iranian regime. He is giving them two options here, John. They can either do this the easy way or the hard way. The easy way is to sign on the dotted line the deal that President Trump has presented to give up their nuclear ambitions and open the Strait of Hormuz. If they are unwilling to do so and they continue ballistic missile attacks against U.S. forces and allies across the region, we are likely looking at a situation where the war resumes. John?
All right, our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yingst, doing spectacular work as always. Trey, thank you. So the president, as Trey was just saying, is following all of this from his golf club in New Jersey. Trey spoke to him on the phone. Alex Hogan is also reporting live from Bridgewater, close to where the president is staying this weekend. Alex.
A lot of the things that he prepared us for is literally there. It's just.
Hi, John. Yes, so the president is here in New Jersey this weekend as the war in the Middle East takes a turn with those latest Iranian ballistic missile strikes being carried out across Israel. And this, again, underscores just how delicate these potential talks are. And even though we heard the president tell Fox that we were potentially just days away from securing a deal, that now all of that might be in jeopardy. We've heard the president say that negotiators are getting closer, and he's underscored some of his hard lines that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and that Iran cannot be able to have language in that deal that would allow them to, in the future, potentially buy a weapon. We've also heard the president push back, saying this is not an endless war. It comes as the war has now stretched into the 100-day mark. So there is a lot of pressure from Democrats saying this needs to come to an end. There's simply too much strain on the American public when it comes to gas prices and the overall impact on the economy. At the same time, of course, we did see that new uptick in the jobs numbers report, so that was a positive there. So we have heard some pushback in terms of what the administration says it's seeing this. But at the end of the day, the president has reiterated that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and that these kinds of attacks cannot continue to be carried out across the Middle East. And this isn't the latest attack that we've seen. It was just in the last 2 days. The U.S. Central Command says that it had to intercept incoming Iranian drones, so aerial assaults. There are 2 taking place over the Strait of Hormuz, according to U.S. Central Command, and other drones that were carried out, drone attacks carried out just the day prior. So we've been seeing this escalation. Obviously, right now in the last hour, this is taking a dramatic turn with the president saying, you know, Iran, you have fired your missiles, come back to the negotiation table. So we'll have to see if that actually does turn into anything. This obviously is a very scary situation, to say the least, for the people in Israel who have been needing to hunker down in bomb shelters. When I was in Israel last summer, when Iran was firing these ballistic missiles toward Israel, and all of that was unexpected, there were a lot of American tourists there in Israel at the time, and I remember speaking to a lot of Americans on the ground who were terrified, wondering how in the world they were going to get out of the country because the airspace was closed, and a lot of them ended up having to go through the border of Jordan trying to figure out how they would cross the border to eventually get home to safety back to the U.S. So a lot of uncertainty at this hour as people hopefully will be able to come out of those bomb shelters soon, but there will be a lot of questions as to what this means for the future of these negotiations. John.
You said earlier that the president plans to spend another day in the New York metro area. He'll be attending the New York Knicks championship game tomorrow night. Any other signs of movement from the White House on what this response to Iran is going to be in this barrage of missiles?
Well, undoubtedly, from what we've seen in terms of a reaction from the White House, previously we have seen this consolidation of efforts and reiterations across the board on the administration saying that, this kind of this behavior will not be acceptable. So we imagine that we will likely hear from the president and other administration officials within the next 24 hours. But yes, as you mentioned, the president will be traveling to New York tomorrow. At least that was the plan before he returns to the Capitol. And I imagine we will see, a large reaction from other government officials as to what this means in terms of the security and defense position within the Middle East, and if those defensive positions might need to shift given this potential threat. John.
All right. Alex Hogan, live in Bridgewater, New Jersey. Alex, thanks.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube.
Shut up. Yeah. So there you have it. Let's play this right here real quick. Yeah, Benny, they said something about the Knicks game. They said they don't want Trump. They don't want Trump there. Fans talking about not showing up. If he come up.
It's important to take time for self-care. Not now, Cook.
And in world news tonight, it's been one.
So ain't nobody messing with Trump. I just want you to hear Trump say this right here. As you see, Israel says Iran launched missiles, playing the blame game.
In world news tonight, it's been 100 days since the war started in Iran. This weekend, Israel's military says it intercepted missiles Iran fired at them for the first time since a ceasefire started in April. Olivia Rinaldi has the latest tonight.
President Trump acknowledged in a TV interview that Iran may have somewhat rebuilt its military during the ceasefire, while saying he thinks the two countries are nearing a deal.
Well, they've been largely decapitated. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft is gone. They might have built it up a little bit over the last 4 weeks during this little ceasefire. We're very close to having a deal, and if we don't have a deal, we'll do it one way or the other. Either way, we win.
The president says the conflict does not mean he broke his campaign promise of no new wars, saying he did not guarantee no conflict and called the war a military exercise. Last week, the Republican-led House narrowly passed legislation that would force President Trump to stop all military action against Iran.
This Iran war is an illegal war, immoral war, an unstrategic war.
I support generally what we're doing in Iran because Iran has been waging war against us for 47 years.
4 Republicans crossed party lines to support the measure, which still has to go to the Senate. If it were to pass there, the president would likely veto it. Meanwhile, Israel on Sunday launched strikes against Hezbollah in Beirut's southern suburbs, just days after a ceasefire agreement with Lebanon went into effect. In a social media post, Iran's chief negotiator threatened that U.S. and Israeli assets in the region would be legitimate targets.
This weekend, Iran's Revolutionary Guards also said they targeted an Israeli airbase with ballistic.
So there you have it. I just want to hit that real quick through the spirit of y'all. Things heating up more and more. Stay pretty for the next. How much more? Shalom.